Welcome to the Folktale Project. This is Dan Scholz. Today we have Chapter 5 in the story of Bee, Princess of the Dwarfs. And, while this one is concerned with what you see from the Keep of the Clarities, it really is a story of two children convincing themselves to do something that they both know they shouldn't. And it is so brilliantly done. One day, not long after this, Bee and George, without being seen, climbed up the stairs of the keep which rises in the middle of the castle. On reaching the platform, they shouted loudly and clapped their hands. The view stretched over rolling downs cultivated and cut up into small green and brown squares. On the horizon they could see hills and woods, blue in the distance. "Little sister," cried George, "little sister, look at the whole earth." "It is very big," said Bee. "My professor," said George, "has taught me that it was big, but as Gertrude, our governess, says, seeing is believing." They walked round the platform. "Here's a marvelous thing, little brother," said Bee. "The castle is in the middle of the whole earth, and we who are on the keep, which is in the middle of the castle, are now in the middle of the whole world. And really the skyline was around the children like a circle, of which the keep was the center. "We are in the middle of the world," George repeated. Then both began to think. "What a pity that the world is so big," said Bee. "You can lose yourself in it and be separated from your friends." George shrugged his shoulders. "How nice it is that the world is so big. You can look for adventures in it. Bee, when I am grown up, I mean to conquer those mountains which are right at the end of the earth. It is there that the moon rises. I will catch it as I go along and give it to you, my Bee." "That's it," said Bee. "You will give it to me, and I will set it up in my hair." Then they began to look for the places they knew, as if on a map. "I know perfectly where we are," said Bee, who knew nothing of the sort. "But I cannot guess what all those little squares sewn into the side of the hill are." "Houses," answered George. "Those are houses. Don't you recognize, little sister, the capital of the Duchy of the Clarities? It is quite a big town. It has 3 streets, of which one is paved. We passed through it last week to go to the hermitage. Don't you remember it? And that winding stream? That's the river. Look at the old stone bridge over there. The bridge under which we fished for lobsters. The very one which has in the recess the statue of the headless woman, but you cannot see her from here because she is too small." "I remember. Why she has no head?" "Probably because she has lost it." Without saying whether the explanation satisfied her, Bee kept her eyes fixed on the distance. Little brother, do you see what is shining near the blue mountains? It is the lake." "It's the lake." They now remembered what the Duchess had told them of the lovely and dangerous water where the Sliffs had their manor. "Let us go there," said Bee. This decision overwhelmed George, who gaped and said, "The Duchess has forbidden us to go out alone, and how can we get to this lake which is at the end of the world?" "How to get there I really don't know, but you ought to, who are a man and have a grammar master." George was stung, and answered that it is possible to be a man, and even a fine man, without knowing all the roads in the world. Bee gave him a mincing, disdainful look, made him blush to the tips of his ears, and said to him primly, "I am not the one who promised to conquer the blue mountains and to unhook the moon. I do not know the road to the lake, but I will find it, you see." "Ha ha ha," said George, trying to laugh. "You laugh like a booby, sir. Bee, boobies neither laugh nor cry. If they did, they would laugh like you. I will go to the lake alone, and while I discover the lovely waters where the Sliffs live, you can stay at the castle all by yourself like a little girl. I will leave you my tapestry frame and my doll. Please take great care of them, George. Please, take great care of them." George had pride. He felt the shame which Bee put upon him. With his head down, darkly he cried in a muffled voice, "All right, we'll go to the lake." And that is concerned with what you see from the Keep of the Clarities, which is the whole wide world, if you're 2 small children, and a whole world worth of bad decisions to make. This is Dan Scholz of the Folktale Project. Don't forget that you can subscribe to the podcast on Apple Podcasts, Stitcher, Google Play, Overcast, anywhere you like to get your podcasts. You can follow us on Twitter at Folktale Project. You can find us on Auto Radio, TuneIn Radio, iHeartRadio, Spotify, anywhere you'd like to listen. And you can always head over to folktaleproject.com, where you'll find a new story waiting for you every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. As always, thank you so much for listening.